Good morning, everybody. It's Josh Benoliel here, VP of Sales at Property.ca, and we are live to air on the Property.ca podcast, Unveiling Toronto Real Estate. We're still coming up with the name if we like the Property.ca podcast, so if you're an agent or somebody listening and want to tune into us and help us come up with a name, I know we're all creative people, so drop us a line here. We may change that name from the Property.ca podcast, something a little bit cooler as we develop this content a little bit. So let's get into it. Today we are joined with Claire Earle. Claire has been with our brokerage since 2017. She has been a top producer with this company every single year. Claire, do you know how much real estate you've sold in this whole period of time?
I actually don't.
Okay, we're gonna get that number for you by the end of this meeting.
Numbers
we're gonna get that to you for the end of the meeting to tell you since 2017. So in the past 6 years.
I'm scared how much money I've spent.
Why don't you think about how much volume have you sold? Do you have a guess?
Maybe guess. 20 million.
20 million in sales volume? I think you've done more than that.
You think?
We'll get that number. Okay. Let's just text Brooke to get that number.
I don't know.
Okay, so let's get into it a little bit here. This is not working, just so we know it is. Okay, perfect. So, Claire, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? You've been with the company for 6 years now. Tell us who you are, so everyone who's listening from our agents can hear a little bit about you, and everyone can, they might know you as Claire, the top producer. Tell us who Claire is.
Sure. So, my name is Claire, obviously. I grew up actually on Toronto Island, so it's kind of random or weird. People might think that's weird, but I know the city very, very well. Real estate was not my first career or choice, I guess. I went to school for fashion and actually had a bikini company in my 20s.
Wow.
And it's actually really funny, when we were at Cabana for the party, that was my first ever fashion show, was at Cabana when I was like 21.
You didn't bring bikinis for everybody.
I know, but I actually made my dress that night.
Jeff was looking for a bikini that night. Sure. You made your dress.
I made my dress, that I wore that night.
Oh, wow. Let's see if we can pull up a picture of that during this. Okay, we'll get into that.
Anyways, so I started in fashion, and then I switched to interior design because I was getting stuff made in Toronto. It was just really expensive to make. So I was like, hey, let me switch to interior design. And then halfway through interior design school, I switched to real estate because my friend was actually doing it. And I was like looking for a rental, and she helped me find the rental. And I was like, I could definitely do this job. Like, you're getting paid how much for this? Like half a month's rent? And like, I was like, the idea of not having a boss, because after interior design school, I was going to have to like go be in a whatever you call that, apprentice or whatever. And I was like, the idea of like not having your own boss was really appealing. So that's when I switched to real estate. And I was like waitressing the whole time as well, in between like fashion and real estate kind of thing. So yeah, and that really helped, I think, in my career, was waitressing and just like talking to people all the time, and like just being able to read people. Like, I think I can really read if somebody's, going to buy something or not kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely really helped.
You engage with a lot of people,
Yeah.
One of the common like transitions I think I've noticed, tell me if you've noticed too in Toronto, is like you go from bottle service girl to real estate agent to breathwork coach now.
Yes,
So are you going to take on? Because you're also a yoga instructor in there.
Yeah, I'm a yoga instructor as well. So
it all fits in there.
Is that like a real thing? Is that normal? I thought it was unique.
Hold on. Have you not met somebody who's like, I was a bottle service girl at Daisy, and now I
was a bottle service girl at Casimoto, and that's how I met my first kind of like team leader in real estate, because I was working for Century 21 in Yorkville, and I was also doing bottle service at Casimoto. And like, when you get thrown into real estate, unless you're here, you have no idea what you're doing. Like, my first lease, the girl was like, my front desk girl was like, where's the co-op? I was like, what's a co-op? Like, I don't know. So I was just doing leases, and then I met this guy doing bottle service, and he happened to own a brokerage, and he's like, come work for my team. So that's where I did my first deal. Was actually it's a really funny story of how I did my first deal. So I was working in open house for my team leader at the time, and this Korean couple came, and they're like, okay, how much is it going to go for? Like, we want to buy it. Barely spoke any English. I'm like, great, I'll write the offer for you. So the offer date comes along, and it's like raining, and I'm going to bring my cushions off my patio, and I come in, I slip down the stairs, and I literally break my ankle.
Oh my God. With them there?
No, this was like at my house later on offer date. So I'm going to go to offer date, and I can't go because I can't walk.
This is when offer dates were in person.
Yeah, so I can't walk. So I'm like, I can't go to the offer date. Like, I think I broke my foot.
Yeah.
So I call my broker of record at the time, and he's like, "Don't worry, I'll do it for you." So I remember being in the hospital, and he's like, I found out I actually broke it. I'm like, "Yeah, bad news, I broke my leg, my foot." And he's like, "Well, good news, you sold your first house." So I was like,
wow.
"Yay!" So I literally, they say go break a leg. I literally broke my leg the first day I sold my first house.
Amazing. So we'll circle back into more. That's an incredible story, and like that's like deep stuff. Like that's where the tales from
random.
the Lockbox come in. Everyone's got these crazy stories. So I don't know. Do you remember what the commission was?
I think it was like around it was like the house sold for $750, and then I had to split. So I think it was around $10,000, and I got a Mercedes right away. I was like, done. Like all my money.
Bottle
I was like,
service girl into real estate agent, buy a Mercedes, then you become a breathwork coach.
Yeah,
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now I'm a yoga teacher on the side as well. So.
This slides. Okay, so we're gonna get into the meeting now. We're gonna circle back to a little bit more with Claire and Claire's stories a little bit. But here's where we're gonna go, Claire. You're a woman in real estate, a successful woman in real estate. Everyone knows that who heard you talk now. You've made it this far. They've heard a little bit about you. Real estate is a hard game. It eats at you deep down. There's ups and downs. It's this constant roller coaster ride, right? Like I'm sure it's not all rainbows and sunshines every single day. I personally have seen you go up and down on situations and deals.
Yeah.
So, give us like in a quick bullet point synopsis for everybody who's listening, all the agents in our office who are watching right now live. Tell us, how does Claire stay motivated? Like, what's your go-to tip?
Yeah.
Where do you hit
I think it's all about mindset. Like, when you're saying it's hard work, I'm like, that's not how I think of it. Like, it's not easy, but like, you just, how do I explain this? I've been through ups and downs for sure, but at the end of the day, you're like, this is not going to kill me. So what if the client's being difficult? So what if this agent's being a dick? So what if we didn't get the deal? It's like, time moves along, and you just get up the next day and do it all over again. And like, you just have to keep it moving and just stay positive, I think, and just, keep going. Like, it's not one client is not ever going to be the be all end all, and not one deal or one anything, right? So I think, and just also like do your things on the side. Like for me, it's yoga. Like I need to get that release. And like, I love going to yoga class for 1 hour. I don't think about real estate or anything really.
It's
just like, tell me what to do, and I just like do it. So I think, it's just like about mindset and just like keep going. Like no matter what happens, just keep going, and just like always think that like you are valuable. Like what we know and what we do here is valuable. And if people don't, Well,
not everyone will appreciate that, and that's okay. Like I'm sure you've had a hard client before that you've actually had to separate ways from. Have you ever had that situation? Like I personally have had to separate ways from a client that it was a great client, but we weren't seeing eye to eye. And I think, you said real estate isn't hard. The physical act of buying and selling a home and showing a home, that's physically not hard. Mm-hmm. What I would find is the hard part is the mindset.
Yeah.
That's the hard part of it,
yeah.
right? Like to say mindset is one thing, but to understand that that's the hard part that you have to keep beating, you have to keep winning. You lose, so you get into an argument with somebody, like there's always a battle, you get nervous of something happening. Whatever the situation is, you keep having to push through that mindset. And I find that to be the hard part. And I think you pointed out a great thing there, is that you got to keep going. And I have this poster in our North York office. It says, pause if you must, but keep going. I talked about it a couple weeks in our meeting. And that's where I think things like you said, like taking that yoga break, very important. You need that personal space, you need that time. For me, I wake up at 5 in the morning before my son's awake, before my wife's awake, so I know in the morning I'm gonna read, I'm gonna journal, I'm gonna get into my sauna, I'm gonna stretch, I'm gonna work out. By 7 in the morning, by the time my wife and my son work out, I've already accomplished a ton. Like this morning I went for a walk with my wife. She's like, you did all that already this morning? I'm like, yeah, I've done all that already. Yeah. Plus I gardened and did all these things. So it's cool. So that's a good tip. Like keep going.
I've become a huge morning person now too. Like I wake up super early, have my coffee. I actually do tarot cards for myself now, which is like kind of random. But like journal, get outside, do yoga or something. But like I love the time before 9 a.m. because I'm like, I don't have to reply to anyone right now. Like at 9:01, okay, my clients, here we go, like, let's go. But like before 9 a.m., I'm like, this is me time. I don't have to do anything.
Love it. I totally agree with you. And you know what I realized, and we'll move on from this topic just in a second because we got a lot to get through, is that both of us have a party lifestyle. I know we both connect on that. I've been up with you till 3 in the morning multiple times in different countries at times too. So I know that we both like to go hard. But what I'm realizing is as we get older and as mornings become more important to me,
that's changing a lot.
Nothing good happens after 10.
No.
10. I'd rather have a powerful 6 a.m. than a go till 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people in the world are starting to adapt to that.
My values have changed a lot, I think, over the past since I started here. And like, you know, it's rare to see me awake late anymore. Basically, I've become a morning person.
You're evolving.
Yeah, I'm evolving.
That's how mankind works. We evolve.
I don't even know how I got so many deals done before, but I did. But
so let's segue into our next topic here. You know, women. I can't necessarily personally relate to it. You can. So one of the things we've been doing here at property.ca is starting to have the women who work in this company meet together. So this Thursday, July 20th, also Ziggy's birthday for those of you who are listening, we're having a girls group meeting. It's a power group led by Susan Morey. Did you come to the last women's power session we did?
Yeah, I did.
And for any of the women who are listening who didn't come out, or maybe if you're at another brokerage or a real estate listening, how did that session help you? Like, what did you get from that session that we did of, you know, not having a male energy in the room? I know that's an interesting thing, but it changes things.
It does.
I know it does, and that's why we're doing it.
Does.
So how did that help you? Just give us a synopsis, a quick brief on that.
Well, first of all, we have like an all-girls WhatsApp group now, which is great because like real estate can be kind of lonely sometimes. So it's like if I need help, what? Yeah.
I like
did I do that?
Love that. No, I did it. I done it. I love that.
So it's just helpful to like if you have a new listing or want advice on anything, basically, or just like get together for lunch. So now we have our little girls group, and Susan is awesome. She kind of just like went through her, you know, history in real estate and with the company, and just like, wanting us all to be there for each other. And I guess the no male energy in the room, like some of the guy agents here can, I don't know, they're like little jabs and digs, you know, and I'm like, fuck you, you know, like, so I don't know. It's just nice being able to just kind of like say whatever you really want.
Creating a safe space for you to do what you gotta do. Listen, I go to men's breathwork classes, and it's a different environment when women join that session. Like there's, you know, we're different beings, and you need that space, and you know, there are different chromosomes that are working at place. So. For those of you who are listening, we have that session coming up. We're also introducing a women's podcast, which will be fun. So you're sure to see Claire back on there. We'll get more into that. Start talking about it next week. All right, we'll keep moving here. These clicker's not working so good today, guys. I'll have to tighten that up a little bit. Let's go to the next slide here, if you don't mind. You can just do it for us. Yeah, just hit us the next slide. All right, so as we know, we're going to get into some weeds of Toronto real estate stuff because that's what this is about, not just me and Claire talking about ourselves for 2 hours. So guys, we've mentioned this before. Most people are using Stratus. That's what we've known. Claire, you use Stratus still?
Yeah, I'm still nervous about switching. I tried to use Realm, but I don't know how to do everything.
You're going to have to figure it out.
I know.
You have until February 29th
they have
to figure it out.
They have like the countdown too. They're like 267 days and 3 hours and 5 seconds remaining until you have to switch.
I think it's nice that Treb's made it very apparently clear that this is happening. Don't come to complain to us afterwards. Start figuring it out now. So, guys, you have to move your contacts from Stratus to Realm. Think about that. So you have to... They have a built-in assistant, and they also have a sign-up session for training. So there's some cool things. We'll keep talking about those, but that's one thing you got to remember. At one point, you're going to have to move all your contacts from Stratus to Realm. And, you know, us as real estate agents, we're very comfortable in the way that we work. We hate change, but one thing that you can probably attest to, even with our CRMs and the it's always better in the end.
Yeah, it's probably better, yeah. It's like better. The one we have now feels like it's from the 90s. Like it's like one of those computers.
It's a little dated.
Yeah.
At least Realm is black. It's a nice screen. It looks like nice and modern. All right, so guys, remember that day for anyone listening, February 29th, 2024, Stratus out, Realm in permanent fix. Let's hit the next slide, Lucas. All right, so Miriam, are you with us today here? Miriam? Okay, we'll hit it old school. So Miriam, did you meet Miriam at the party, Claire?
No,
so,
I know Sean from Mortgage Outlet.
Okay, so Miriam works for Sean.
Okay, yeah.
So Miriam...
Sean's one of my best clients.
Okay, cool. What do you mean he's one of your best clients?
He's bought a lot of pre-con off me.
Okay, cool. So
and he's like the best mortgage guy, obviously.
Got it. So Miriam and Sean work together. Miriam is our preferred vendor in the office now. She's the one who's sponsoring our social events. She's working in the office on Thursdays. If you are around, Miriam seems to be off. She's probably busy closing a deal right now, so we'll give Miriam the week off. But Miriam works in our office on Thursdays now. So if you have an issue, problem, you want to ask about a mortgage, you want to just get into the weeds, ask about rate things and that, Miriam is always on our podcast on Tuesday mornings. She is also in our office on Thursdays for all the agents here. So we've now brought that resource back to us in the office. So we have a live mortgage broker in office every Thursday.
Nice.
Cool? Let's keep going. We'll skip past morning. So we've talked a little bit about mindset today, Claire. Now, we're real estate agents. We need a market. And when, an interesting thing about when you work at a company like ours, property.ca, and having a website like condos.ca, where we're feeding our agents leads, constantly hot buyer leads, hot renter leads on a daily basis, you eliminate the need for agent marketing. But again, what we've noticed over time is that only goes so far, right? There needs to be some level of marketing involved, because someone like Claire, for example, you have an over almost $9 million listing right now. Right? $9 million Forest Hill listing. Now, sometimes we get that coming through our websites, but you did some form of marketing to get to that point. So, for all the agents that are listening now, what does Claire do for marketing? What's Claire's marketing tip? Where do you get into this stuff here?
I think definitely social media, like Instagram is huge. Like I have definitely gotten clients through Instagram. And
doing what?
Other opportunities as well. Just being present, I think.
Posting.
Just posting,
Being you.
Just posting, me, listings, the market, just anything, and just staying top of mind for real estate. So that it's like you don't, and asking sometimes clients, to add me on Instagram or whatever, or past clients, and then they're always just in your feed, right? And you can comment on their stuff as well. Then rather than having, you should obviously send Christmas cards and stuff like that, but rather than that one touch point a year or whatever, calling them to be like, hey, do you know anyone looking to buy or sell a house? Which is what Century 21 tells you to do. Just being top of mind, so they're seeing that you're active in real estate and they can ask you questions or whatever, and just so you're always kind of there.
Yeah, it creates a constant form of a platform for you to constantly communicate with your clients and stay connected with people, right? I mean, that's what we need to do in this world. We need to stay connected with more people. So you're using social media on that level to connect with your clients on a regular basis. And, for agents out there, a lot of people do social media, but they're nervous and they want to get into it. I know Claire has 2 accounts, which I don't like.
I know. And I was going to say, you know what? I know you don't like that I don't have just one Instagram account for both. But I feel it's authentic to me to have more than one. The reason being, I love real estate. That's my job. That's what I do. But that's not everything about me. And I'm really getting into yoga as well. And it's I don't necessarily think two things match all the time. And if in the future, I want to start a yoga business and I have a real estate business, and then let's say I have a baby and I want to post my baby on it. I don't necessarily want everybody seeing all that stuff. So I know you post your kid, and that's it is what it is, right?
Ziggy helps me win.
Yeah, no.
We get our most
I get that.
action from Ziggy content.
I know.
And then we do real estate.
Everybody's different though, right?
That's okay, of course.
And what if I start my own team and then I have a family and I want the team member to take over my Instagram and I don't want to touch it anymore?
Yeah, of course.
So I'm thinking long term, I think Kim Kardashian has 7 Instagrams, so for all her different businesses. So,
fun fact: I used to be very into yoga. It's been less recently. Now I'm more into sauna meditating.
I want to teach a company yoga class.
And we'll do that. Yeah. But at one point, I actually, and some of my friends who might be listening to this will know, I actually wanted to brand myself as the yoga realtor. And I wanted to have a billboard at Dundas and Dovercourt that was me
they don't go
in
together.
a tree. Was me in a tree post that said "Namaste, everything's gonna be okay."
They just don't go together.
It was gonna be "Namaste, everything's gonna be okay." So that's a free tip for somebody.
Yeah,
it's you're into yoga.
Somebody wants to do that. I think somebody in our brokerage already has that Instagram.
It's okay, but that was my billboard. I was gonna do a billboard right above the yoga studio on Queen Street, in that area, right there.
I wouldn't
go to your
realtor.
yoga
class or buy real estate off you if I saw
You wouldn't, but other people might. They like that. Anyways, I didn't do it.
I'm just kidding.
I clearly didn't do it, and I didn't need to do it, but it was a free tip.
To each their own, right? And everyone's attracted. You attract different clients, right? So
of course.
It is what it is.
So let's get into the weeds. A lot of our agents are watching. Lucas, how many agents we got live on Zoom right now watching this live? 35. I like that. The attendance is building up. So guys, we're switching it up. I know in the past couple weeks I've been giving you slides of week over week data, and I think that's been I analyzed the past month of week over week, me telling you what the average cost per sale in Mississauga condos have been week over week, and the variance between those numbers have been so far off. So a group of us had a conversation of what information would be valuable. So today I want to switch up those numbers a little bit, and I'm going to talk about some tangible aspects that anybody listening to this podcast or this meeting can walk out of here or stop listening to this and have something valuable that you can walk away from the Toronto real estate market with. So today we're looking at June 2023, which was last month, in the GTA, and we're looking at a year-over-year summary. So the first number I got at the top here is the number of sales in June 2023 in the whole GTA. 7,481. The change year over year, 16.5% increase. Does that sound like a down market to you, Claire? Is the market down?
You wouldn't think so.
You wouldn't think so. Well, Treb stats show
Yeah.
that the Toronto real estate market, the number of sales has increased this June from last year, June, by 16.5%, the amount of sales. Last June, what's that number? There's 6,422. There's almost 1,000 more sales happened this June than last June. So when everyone's saying the market's crashing, we're going into this crazy recession, people are still buying real estate in the GTA, and they're buying more real estate this year than they did last year. Now, things change a little bit here. Here's a different stat that we can look at. Active listings. This year, in June, we had 14,000 active listings. Last June, we had 16,000 listings. So the trend is actually we're down the amount of listings 12.3%. So now you start to talk about where that market balance is starting to happen. We're having more sales happen year over year, but less listings year over year. So that's causing a little bit of a demand still. And I'm sure you've seen it in the condo market. We are seeing offer presentations happen on certain things. Have you seen that recently a little bit?
Yeah, I'm seeing it happen. I'm seeing it also not work too. It's kind of a tricky market and like what strategy to go with.
Depends on the property.
But yeah, it definitely depends on the property and the price point.
And it all depends on that, right? Like, I saw a house that was on Argyle, in Queen West last week. That was a 30 wide semi-detached, and a lot of agents probably listening to this might have seen the house for sale. It was listed at like 1,499. They sold for $2 million. He had an in-person offer presentation, and there was 15 offers on that property.
Wow.
That same neighborhood, we have a condo for sale that, a couple of our agents here on Gladstone have for sale. And I know that it's been sitting for a little bit, and it's not that they're overpriced or anything. It's just that market of that demand of that buyer is just not there for that product. So you really got to understand what you're selling right now, right? Yeah. And I think having that proper pricing strategy will fit into that, because clearly people are winning, but there's not a lot of listings out there. So if you have the right strategy with your listing, you'll win. Now, months of inventory, we're down almost 25%, which go hand in hand with the active listings. We're down 25% on the active months of inventory compared to last June. Last June, we were almost at 2.5%. We have 1.89% months of inventory in the GTA right now. Yeah. Not a lot of stuff.
So it's still a seller's market.
Still a seller's market. It's just you got to have, you want to have the right product that you're selling and have the right strategy with the right agent, understanding that. If you're coming in and you're overpricing your house and thinking that you're going to sell your house for what you sold for last year in June, not going to happen. But if you're identifying where the market's at now and understanding where the average price is, now that's the interesting next step, is that the average price for houses is actually up 3.2% from last year, June over June. So the average home price in the GTA right now, the average price is $1.1 million, almost $1.2 million, which is up 3.2%. So the amount of sales is up, the value of the homes is up, the amount of inventory is down, and the amount of inventory available is down. So we have less inventory, sales are up, and volume's up.
And people have just been sitting on the sidelines waiting, and they're going to have to jump in. It's what I guess they're already doing.
So what do we summarize from this? Should we sell? Should we sell right now?
Yeah.
We should sell right now.
We should sell right now. We should sell right now.
Right? I mean, and that's an interesting thing, but I think you need to have the right strategy.
Yeah. And do you think, predictions September, do you think?
We're going to see what happens. I mean,
a lot of people have been waiting, even though these stats say, I guess, that things are up. If you look at the last many months, it was not, right?
Right.
So people are maybe just saying, okay, fuck it, I just have to buy something.
And that's an interesting point that you just pointed out here. If you look at the last couple months, month over month, they've all been negatives.
Yeah.
And we can share this with any agents who want. We can add a link to it on the YouTube page. If you're watching this, we'll add a link to this right now. But it's been negative. Now we're up in the green.
Yeah.
So now you're starting to see prices come up a little bit, but you have less inventory. So obviously that number is playing a factor into each other. And I think for when I'm talking to my buyers right now as well, is a lot of people are traveling. A lot of people are at their cottage. So there's opportunity right now.
Yeah.
You know, people who are sitting on the market, and you got to find the right deal for your buyers. There's deals out there. There's opportunities. And if you're dealing with a seller, you really need to make sure that you're pricing your property right and you have a good marketing plan. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alex asked what the month over month is.
We're not doing month over month. So how we're shifting it, Alex, right now is every single week we're going to go into a different set of numbers. This year we're focusing on the actually, I could tell you month over month if you wanted to, but we're focusing on year over year. Month over month, the total amount of sales is down month over month. Last month was 9,000. This month is 7,500. The amount of active listings is up from May to June. It was almost 12,000 in May, and we're at 14,000 in June. The month of inventory is up month over month. And the average price is slightly down by about 20,000 from May till June 2023. Days on market staying the same from May till June to about 14 days on market in the GTA. Interesting, right? Because I see a lot of stuff at 30 days. I don't know about you. I'm seeing a lot of stuff around 30 days.
Yeah. Yeah, things are sitting, and like you said, I think a lot of people are away in the summer. You know, typically, I think the slowest month is like December and then August. That's what I find.
Which months?
December,
Yeah.
like Christmas,
Yeah.
and then like August.
Of course. Everyone's traveling.
For sales, right?
Yeah. I mean,
and
I
then
wouldn't
September,
ideally list
we're
at that point.
Yeah.
But I think if you have a buyer right now,
Yeah.
like one of my buyers I've been working with for years.
I think September is going to pick up more.
I think so too. I think people are going to come back. Their kids are going to
Yeah.
go to school. They're going to, we're going to get into that.
Yeah.
Once we adjust to these interest rate rates,
Yeah.
it just takes a little bit of time. It spreads over there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, acceptance.
What's your take on pre-con right now? So, this is a project that we've
Yeah.
been pushing here. The Acre condos, really good deal at Yonge and Erskine, which is Yonge and Eglinton, $1,400 a foot, 10% down this year. Really good deal. What are you thinking about that? Like, where does that kind of...
Yeah, I mean, I think they're
access
offering some good incentives on pre-con, like deposit structure and whatnot. Like delayed deposit structure makes it easier for people to get into it. Also, doing a pre-con, you don't have to really accept the interest rates as they are right now because they'll probably change by then. And you're just putting, and so it's good for investors. I think like first-time buyers, I never really recommend pre-construction because never know. But for investors, like they just put in their 20% and then in 4 or 5 years, they can figure out what they want to do with it. So, I mean, I think it's compared to what's on the market now, the prices are high for pre-construction, but like they're never going to go down for pre-construction, right? Like the
cost of buildings are going up.
The builder's never going to, cost of buildings going up, and the builder's never going to go down because it looks bad, right? So, I mean, I think in 4 or 5,
right?
Yeah, I've done a lot of pre-con. I think in 4 or 5 years, like the market's going to be up for sure.
That's a big stat. Where do you think real prices are going to be in 4 or 5 years? Are they going to be down?
I think they're going to be up. Like I think I read some stats somewhere. It's like every 10 years in Toronto, your property value doubles, and that's kind of pretty accurate. Like
it's been that
my
way.
grandparents bought their house for $20,000, and we sold it for $2 million.
Wow.
That was like 60 years ago, but still, like it's like crazy.
Keeps
like
doubling.
You know what I mean? Like so I don't know. I think
of course, and it's been that we've had that historical data to prove it, right?
Yeah, like I don't think.
So if somebody's thinking about buying a pre-construction and they're listening to this, or they're an agent that their clients are asking about pre-construction right now, what would be your like quick tip for somebody, an agent or a buyer, to think about right now? If there's opportunities, we know builders are giving good incentives, they're offering things to move their units out right now. There's good opportunity there for sure, right? You can get a good situation, you can find a project. What would be your tip for an agent looking at there?
Definitely go with a reputable builder. Like do your research and to make sure they're going to complete the project on time, relatively on time. Also, like just you should intend to close on it. I think like don't buy it intending to assign it because that may not work out in your favor.
Right.
And I know the government's being more strict on taxes and stuff for that. And then just like explore your options, like work with an agent to make sure you're seeing kind of everything. And I mean, just make sure you have all your ducks in a row in terms of like making sure you can make the payments and everything like that. But I love pre-construction. I love having something brand new. Like it's
also nice to get paid like that second.
Oh
half
yeah,
of the
as an
deposit.
agent. Oh, as an agent too. Yeah, you're like.
Like a couple months ago, I got one. I was like, oh, I forgot about that. Nice.
I know all that work I did 4 years ago is starting to pay off.
Italy's going to be less expensive now.
So yeah, the commission's great, obviously.
And I think for buyers out there, if you're listening to this, I think a big tip for buyers, if you're thinking about buying pre-construction, one of the best things you can do right now is do your research and find out what projects are out there and figure out what incentives you can get out of that builder to make sure that you're finding a product that really works for you. There's a lot of opportunities out there, and and everyone's financial situations and what they want out of a project is different. So really do your research of what projects are out there, what incentives are being offered, because you can find the right project that works for you.
Yeah, and in terms of incentives and stuff, like, you know, having an agent, like every agent should know this, but you always have to ask for like caps on development levies and like what other things can you offer me like during that 10,
They have a hard cap.
during that like okay, well yeah, during the 10
hard
day
cap.
during the 10-day period, like you can go back and be like, okay, cap on this, do this, like have the lawyer review the document or whatever, see what else you can get.
Okay, so let's go into it. Our company this week has 31 new listings coming out, which is interesting. We're up on our listing, so it actually goes in line a little bit. Well, it's different than what we actually saw in the Treb stats. We have more listings coming out. But let's get into a couple of these listings right now and talk about some stuff that's going on here. The first one that comes up, where is it? Let's keep going here.
I saw that. Magda.
Is Magda.
I saw that.
Magda's got a nice unit at the Four Seasons. I love this building. I've done several deals here recently. Magda's not here to tell us about it. Have you ever done a deal in the Four Seasons?
I haven't actually. I've definitely done showings there, but never actually done a deal there. I might have showings there next week though. Okay. But this one looks beautiful. I saw this. I was thinking about booking a showing.
Yes, yeah, so you're in Tower 2 in this listing, right? But you're a 2+1, which I know these layouts on a 3-bedroom, which is a very big place. 2 parking spots. If you don't know about the Four Seasons in Toronto, that's valet parking. From the hotel, they park you down. You have access to all the hotel amenities. And one thing I know about anybody that I've ever bought a condo for in the Four Seasons in Toronto is once you move into that building, you ain't leaving.
It's hard to move.
I don't think they leave too easily. You want to always be there.
I think there's only one building you go to after that, and I don't want to say what it is.
Well, I think there's potentially a few more coming that you might be wanting to move to. Like Yorkville, there's another project coming out that I've heard is going to be well over $3,000 a square foot launch on pre-construction. That's the kind of stuff that goes.
Yeah.
What building is it?
I'm not telling.
It's a secret
building. Because I might have
building.
something going on there. So
Okay, she doesn't want to let. So we'll have to bring you back when you talk about it.
Yeah.
We saw Todd Armstrong. He's got a new listing here on Shooter Street, Regent Park. Have you ever done any deals in that area? Like, do you know about what's happening in that area of the city?
I mean, I know that the development is insane. Like,
it's booming.
Yeah. Like they tore down all the old buildings and it's all brand new.
All the government housing, they're cleaning it up. I think like it's starting to shape up that Regent Park is going to be like that next Queen West, King West kind of vibe. Like 20 years ago, before you and I were ever thinking about real estate, right? We were probably in high school at that time or whatever it was. I hear that there were washing machine stores all over Queen Street and, whatever it was in Queen West. And, there was crackheads and hookers everywhere. And now you're looking at Regent Park where they're cleaning that up. Obviously, there's still a lot of it. But looking at getting a townhouse in that area, a 2-bedroom townhouse for just under $1.1 million, good opportunity. Reach out to Todd Armstrong. Todd Armstrong's also one of our branch managers in our Mississauga office. Had a fart there, brain fart. Claire, tell us about this. What do we got here?
Yeah, so this is mine and Veronica's listing. So it's a brand new townhouse in Oakville. It's like right by the water. 3-bed, 3-bath, 2 parking. I literally walked down to the water the other day and there's like a little trail you can go like sit at the water. It's gorgeous.
Beautiful.
So this one, we're actually selling this at a pretty good price. There's another one available for like 1.9. So the client's trying to offload this.
Okay,
one.
Cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to the restaurant in Oakville, Hexagon?
No.
I've heard a lot about this place.
Okay.
And I know Piano opened up another location.
Yeah, there's so many waterfront properties out there. It's amazing.
It's a different vibe
You
going on
don't even
in
realize like how nice it is out there. Yeah, like being right on the lake.
If you haven't been to Oakville in a while, my advice to you is to take a drive out to Oakville because it's
but don't go during the traffic time.
No, you want to go. What time would you suggest going?
I don't know.
Like
11 a.m.
And get back by 1.
Yeah. Like.
So today's a good day to go if
maybe
you're at home.
10:30 to 12:30.
Take a nice day off and go there. Yeah. All right, so we're going to skip over this assignment because we got into exclusive a little bit. But Claire, let's talk about some stuff about you. So why don't you tell us why you became a real estate agent? I think you already covered that a little bit. You talked about that at the beginning of this call. what do you tell us what you like about being a real estate agent, aside from making money and being able to go party in Miami all the time? Tell us what you like about being a real estate agent.
I'm not necessarily partying in Miami. I do a lot of yoga. I go to Sunrise Yoga, guys. I'm not partying that
Not
much.
partying, just,
not that much.
I think just going to Miami, the concept,
Yeah.
even doing
Yeah,
yoga.
yeah.
And
Or
like,
traveling in
I
general,
call
yeah.
that partying.
Yeah.
Like, I just
Yeah,
like
yeah, sure.
having a good time. Miami's fun.
So it's definitely like the freedom, I think. Just like money gives you freedom, obviously. But I think just not having like a regular 9 to 5, or like when I was waitressing, which I did for quite a while, like having to go somewhere and stay there for like 8 to 10 hours. And like, you're like trading your money or time for money, right? Whereas real estate, like, first of all, there's no ceiling. The more you work, the luckier you get, the more money you can make, kind of thing. And just, yeah, like you can really do whatever you want. Like, obviously you have to reply to your clients if you want to make money and go do the things and do the showings and do the listings and all that. But like, you can choose to take some time off if you want, as long as you have your stuff sorted here. And
a system and operations, as we're talking about.
Yeah.
You make it sound very easy. It's like, oh yeah, we can just make all this money and go.
I know, I don't mean to. I've been working hard at this for a very long time.
Of course,
that's the thing.
that's
Like,
why
I
you're a
got my
top
license
producer.
in like 2016. I told you I went to 2 different brokerages. You know, I was waitressing, I was hustling, and then I came here. Obviously, the leads are great, but it's like, you know, always being in contact with your clients, like just all the time. Like, I reply right away. Like, that's one thing I say to new agents, like, have your phone glued to you and like reply immediately. Like, don't leave your clients on red ever, kind of thing. And just like make the connections, make the calls, and just like do the things. But I think half of it's like showing up and just like
100%.
being there and being on it, and just, you know, having an opinion. No, you know, you can say, I don't know if I don't know, and you want to go double check, but like try not to.
You want to know everything.
Yeah.
Actually, I was
or
listening
like,
to Grant Cardone say that the other day. It's like, who wants to hear somebody tell them that they don't know the answer to it? Like, you should
Yeah.
know the answer. If you don't know the answer, try to like, you know, leverage the conversation so you move away from it so you can come back with the answer. But no one wants to hear, I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, and if you don't know, then you check on it and get back to them right away. But most of the time, you can have an opinion on something,
Totally.
right? And, you know, just go with your instinct, I guess.
So my last question for you, Claire. Quick hit here. You know, you
I
go.
have one more thing.
Okay. Is
Okay.
it going to answer that one? Because I have a question I want to ask about that last one.
Okay, that one, yeah.
Let me ask you my question,
Okay.
okay? The bottle server, the girl who's a server right now, Kasamoto, she's making a ton of bank this summer right now, whatever it is in tips. She's finishing her Humber College program. September, she's going to be a real estate agent. He or her, what's your tip for that person right now, where Claire was 7 years ago? What's your tip
Okay.
to that person who's going to become a real estate agent starting in September? What do they got to do to be the next Claire, to live the life like you are, to be a successful real estate agent that gets to do yoga and travel and have all this fun stuff in a nice Mercedes?
Okay, so my number one tip is, and somebody told this to me once before, people don't like being sold. They love shopping with friends.
Ooh, I like that.
So like,
I love
don't be a
doing that.
salesperson. Like, you know, you're showing them the place. If they like it, they like it. You can tell the features and whatever, but don't push something on them that may not be what they want, because now they're going to think you're lying all the time when you're like, this house is great, this house is great, this house is great.
Not every house
Right?
can be great.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, just try to
Fun.
form connections with your clients on a personal level. Like, even like the bigger the deal you do, you think it's going to be, people tell me they're intimidated or nervous, and like, I'm sure I was, for sure I was like intimidated by like wealthy people, but it's like, they're just people. And like, some of my best clients, like, we chit chat about like traveling and stuff like that, and yoga, and like, you know, like they have a
there's
life.
a personal connection going on, and you have a
Yeah.
good time doing it.
Yeah,
That's
they
why I
have a
love
life,
doing
so
real
it's
estate with my friends. Like,
Yeah.
some people, some don't. I find my clients are my friends.
Yeah.
I like going out when I go out on showings, making it an experience. I often like to take people out for food in that area, wherever we're doing showings, and showing them that culture. So it's a fun vibe. What was the last thing you wanted to add in
Yeah.
here? Let's circle back.
That was
into
what I was going to say.
That's
I
it.
forgot. That was like the one-liner that I wrote down that I wanted to say out loud.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's it, I think. And just like, I mean, obviously the leads is like very important. So not to discount condos.ca and property.ca, like that's huge. Because like for me, even though I do love Instagram and I use it a lot, like if that was my only source, it would probably get a little exhausting maybe. like in past brokerages, they're like, yeah, call everyone you know and ask them if they're going to sell or buy real estate. I'm like, that sounds terrible. Like,
So what are the top benefits of working at a brokerage like ours for anyone who's listening? Condos.ca is our platform, property.ca is our brokerage. What are the key benefits of being a new agent that you get from being at a brokerage like this versus what you got when you worked at Century 21? Not to call Century 21 out, but you did work there and you've been successful here.
Like the training for sure, like the community, just being able to, you know, ask questions all the time, and the leads and the CRM, like, and like the website, like somebody books a viewing request, you're like, cool, like that's like the most.
Training and support and management, culture, and constant flow of leads.
Yeah.
You get those three things out of a brokerage and it's really good and you fit in, you're going to be successful. Agreed?
Agreed, yes.
Agreed. Thank you guys for joining us on this week's Property.ca podcast. For all the agents who are joining live on Zoom, thank you for listening. If you have any feedback, as always, you can reach out to me directly, josh@property.ca. We'd love to include more information. We're trying to grow this to bring the best information we can, not only to our agent, but to our listeners and to everyone out there. We will be having this live on all podcast channels soon. So thank you for listening, guys. Thank you, Claire, for coming out.
Thank you.
Everyone value. You're
Namaste.
a great guest. Namaste. Thank you for coming. It's a beautiful day out here in Toronto. Get out there, have fun, get busy selling. Let's live a good life, guys. Thank you.